Welcome to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success. I'm also excited to share my book, Straight from the Admissions Office, a review of my biggest takeaways from the first few hundred podcast episodes. It's packed with direct insights from admissions professionals and practical tips to help students and their families navigate the college admissions process. You can find all of the information in the show notes. Welcome to The Cap, where we are here to speak with college reps and other professionals in the field of college admissions to help answer all your questions and guide you through every step of the process. So if you're serious about college admissions, you've come to the right place. Are you ready? Let's talk about it. And now, here's your host, Dr. John Durante. Welcome to The Cap, the College Admissions Process Podcast. I am your host, John Durante, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce you today, Lindsey Owens, who's the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions at the George Washington University, fondly known as well as GW. Lindsey, thank you so much for being here today. How are you?
Of course. Happy to be here. Thanks. I'm doing well. How are you doing, John?
I am doing great. I'm so excited to finally have GW on the podcast. I've been trying, Lindsey, for a long time. It's not from a lack of trying. And here we are. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking forward to this conversation. So, Lindsey, let's start by me asking simply, what are some of the distinct academic or extracurricular programs that set GW apart? How do students benefit from them? And are there any programs that are more popular or competitive than others?
Great first question. We are known for our political science department, I would say, and our School of International Affairs. We actually do have the largest political science department in the entire country. We have a unique program called Political Communications, and that is in our School of Media and Public Affairs. So while we have a lot of programs and majors that revolve around politics, we have dozens of other majors and minors across STEM, humanities programs, everything you could possibly imagine. We have an entire school of engineering, media, public affairs, public health as well. So we have a little bit of everything to kind of wet everybody's whistle. We have a few unique programs as well. One of them, we have a BA-MD program. That is one of those 7-year combo undergrad and medical school programs. For us, it's unique because it's a BA. And so that's a Bachelor of Arts, not a Bachelor of Science. And it is focused more so on creating or training doctors that are focused on the health of the community and being very patient focused. It does require some extra essays and some test scores, but it is a well-rounded program that gets you straight into the GW med school that we have on our campus. And kind of in that same vein, we are an R1 research institution and a member of the AAU, the American Association of Universities, which is an association that helps with research funding and acknowledges the immense amount of research in all fields that happens here at GW. And so students are often ask me, I'm not a science person. Can I still do research? And my answer is always yes. Every single one of our professors is engaged in research, whether it's, the art history folks going down to the Smithsonian and getting to look at paintings hands-on, or the business folks going out into the community to interview locals about their spending habits and things like that. So there are many, many different ways to do research, especially here. Our business school also has a unique series of leadership courses that all of their students have to take. So even the business school is starting to prepare students for careers after college. We want students to to stay with us for their 4 years and have a great time, but we are preparing them for life after college. So prepping them from day one and year one is a really big part of our education here. Engineering majors also complete a capstone project, and the advisors there are wonderful, work with the students one-on-one, and our engineering school is actually 50% female, which is something we really like to boast about. And, just kind of wrapping that all up, aside from needing calculus for engineering or possibly an audition or a portfolio for an arts program, most of our majors are equally competitive across the board, and we do admit by school and college, so into our Elliott School of International Affairs or into our School of Business. But you are very welcome to have up to 2 majors and 2 minors across all of the different programs. We make double majoring very accessible for our students. I think I've only ever had one student have a singular program on their diploma when they left me.
Well, that's a terrific overview. And you admit by school or college, you have the largest political science department, research opportunities abound, not to mention that awesome business school. And I appreciate you talking about your BA MD program. Now, while mentioning that you talked about test scores, I know that GW is in fact test optional, but I just want to ask, for the BA MD program, I'm assuming that tests are required for that program?
Yes, it's one of the few things that requires testing, and it does require 2 extra essays to go along with it as well.
Fantastic. So tests and 2 extra essays. So we appreciate that, Lindsey. And GW's Foggy Bottom campus is located in the heart of the nation's capital, of course, but many people don't know about the Mount Vernon campus about 2 miles away. What kind of unique opportunities does each campus provide, and how do they stay connected?
Of course. So for my non-DC familiar friends, this is not the actual estate of Mount Vernon. That is about 15 miles south into Virginia. But it is named in honor of that estate. And it does look more like a traditional campus. You can't hear the city. You see trees everywhere. There's an open field, and it still has all the amenities that the main city campus has. So they have a gym, they have a library, they have in-house academic advisors. Some really fun things they have too. I personally love the coffee shop over there. It's called Buff and Brew, which is a pun on our colors, buff and blue. And they just completed an outdoor adventure course that is going to open up now that it is springtime. The Mount Vernon campus is unique. It helps students transition into city life if they are from rural areas, or if they want the access to the city but they want a quiet home life, or more of a community base at their within their residential housing. The athletic fields are out here. There are performing arts studio spaces. There are events happening almost every single day on this campus. So whether you are a student looking for city life or for traditional feel to your campus, we have what I like to say, the best of both worlds. You will always have one class over on the Mount Vernon campus, and that is your first year writing seminar, but there is a shuttle that goes back and forth, literally leaves every 5 minutes. It's called the VEX, and takes about 15-20 minutes. The most I've ever stayed on is about 25 minutes in traffic, but DC. And then also housed on this campus, mostly first year students. There's about 650 students living over here. But some of them are participants in our LLCs, which are living and learning communities. And so because the Mount Vernon campus, fondly called the Vern, is more focused on community building and that aspect of a smaller, tight-knit group, the living and learning communities are housed here to take advantage of that. So there are living and learning communities such as Civic House that focuses on civic and community engagement, specifically within DC. We have a women's leadership program as well with 4 different academic cohorts to choose from. And we also have our honors program where the students are housed here. Everybody takes all their normal classes on the Foggy Bottom campus, but they are still housed on the Mount Vernon campus to take advantage of that community. And then students are free to move back or onto the Foggy Bottom campus after that first year in these LLCs. And most students do choose to move to Foggy Bottom in the city for their second year to kind of complete their 2-year housing requirement with us. But I have been told there are about 5 students in total who have chosen to live on the Vern for all 4 years. So it does happen. It is a great area. And yeah, it's a lovely little campus out there.
That's awesome. And you spoke a lot about your community. I love how you talked about the living, learning communities. And I was curious because so many students come to GW from so many parts of the United States and beyond. And so that transition, helping students to come onto that campus in the very beginning is so important. So for first-year students, what do you do to enhance their overall experience on both of your campuses?
So yes, besides the living and learning communities, there are several different kind of smaller residential communities on the Foggy Bottom campus, and about 7,000 of our students do live between the 2 campuses. So it is very common to stay on campus and live there for quite a while as a student. And so things we do to really help the students transition to either campus, we have orientation over the summer. We have an entire multicultural student center for finding community and connecting to all of the student organizations that are also on campus. We will hold a giant org fair. And so basically it looks like a college fair, but it's every single club that is represented on campus. It is huge. It's a full day. It's held in our basketball arena, and you can walk around, write your name down on as many club signups that you want to, and then immediately you are in these clubs finding people who have similar interests as you and really connecting that way. One of my favorite things is that during orientation, students will also complete a day of service, and that is usually the last Saturday or Sunday before classes start in August. And we literally just bus students around the city. They complete community service projects for local residents all over DC. I think last year I heard they helped set up over 70 classrooms around the city in DC public schools. So we have a great reputation and community and in partnership with the city as well as across the different campuses.
Well, that's great. It really does sound like you have something for everyone. And I love, signing up for those clubs to find those like-minded people. And of course, those living, learning communities to build that community right from the get-go. So we appreciate the overview. And of course, Lindsey, the people that are listening, they want to hear about that holistic review process. So can you walk us through the process at GW and explain the relative importance of each part of the application? Of course, we're talking about the transcript, essays, test scores, and any extracurriculars.
Of course. We spend months reading these applications. It is a big part of our jobs, one of my favorite parts as well. And yes, we do a holistic review, and we truly mean that, where we are looking at everything that you submit with your application. So transcripts, we are looking at grade trends. Are you on an upward trend? If you had, maybe a rough start to high school, but your grades improved every year, you're taking more challenging courses now, maybe your mid-year, senior year courses, and those grades show that you're having straight A's now. We take those things into consideration. And we'll also read, every school sends us a school profile, and that basically will give us the context for your transcript. It's going to say what's offered. Are you an AP school, an IB school? Do you not label your courses at all? We're looking at these things together side by side, and I do want to mention we will recalculate GPAs to a 4.0 scale. So whatever is the equivalent at your school, we will put that into our calculator so that we have a common metric for comparing the students during the admissions process. Essays are probably some of my favorite parts. We are looking for your personality to come through in the essays. Tell us something that we can't read from the other sections of your application. Maybe there was an impactful service trip that you took, or maybe you want to write about your relationship with a family member that's very significant to you. What have you? Talk about it in this essay. We are looking at how you present yourself, your writing style. Did you proofread your essay? Simple things like this can actually have an impact when we're reading the full application. Extracurricular activities are always amazing. This is your place to shine, be selfish, list your biggest achievements first. Whatever you are the most involved in should be at the tippy top. Yes, we do read the entire list, and you do have 10 spaces, but putting your most passionate involvements at the top of the list will also be a note to us about what you are passionate and involved with. GW has also been test optional since about 2015, so we've been doing it since before it was cool, and we don't care why you didn't submit testing. You don't have to prove that to us or yourself or anything. If you want your test scores sent to be considered with your application, go ahead and check that box. And if you don't want them considered, go ahead and check the other box. And we won't hold it against you while we're reading. It does not create a bias in our minds when we are reading. I will say that about 40 to 50% of our applicants do submit test scores, and it's about the same percentage for our accepted students as well. So it is not a make or break part of the application.
Well, we really appreciate that. You talked about so much. Number one, the test optional nature of GW. You're saying that 40 to 50% of the students actually submit, and that's about the same percentage in terms of the students who were actually accepted. So if anyone believes that it's a myth, those numbers prove otherwise. I appreciate you also talking about the transcript, how, of course, you're looking at the grade trends, but you emphasize the senior year grades, which is a great reminder to students to continue putting your best foot forward, even in that senior year. The school profile is another thing that a lot of people don't know about, but it's so important because, as you put it, Lindsey, you get a copy so that you really get an idea, the context of what's available at each of the many high schools that you're reviewing from. So students and families, if you're not familiar with your school profile, give it a look just so it'll help you get a better idea, a better vision in terms of what's seen on the other side when you submit those applications. You mentioned recalculating the GPA. A quick follow-up, Lindsey. When you recalculate, and you talked about your metrics, are you recalculating only the course subjects, or is it with electives as well?
That's a great question. We are using the 5 core subjects, so any course that falls under science, social studies, math, English, or a foreign language will be put into a recalculated GPA. And then any advanced course, so those APs, IBs, or dual enrollments, will also include those in the recalculation, because yes, an AP art class is still a college level amount of work, and so we are giving it that recognition in the GPA.
I appreciate that. And Lindsey, how do the supplemental essays help set students apart? And what else do you hope to learn about the student in this part of the overall application?
Yeah, we have 2 supplemental essay choices, and they are optional, so it's not a required part of the application, but it is kind of a hint that you are putting in a little extra effort into the application itself. So our prompts are about civil discourse and changing history. And so we're not looking for new profound answer to a problem that's been going on for 1,000 years, or, we don't need a new idea to pop up or new story. We are looking at how you present yourself again, and we want you to be honest, and we're looking at how you are as a human being. Some of the big parts of our community engagement within our campus are centered around civil discourse, having those conversations about either, difficult topics or maybe topics you're not familiar with. And so we want to see how you as a student and as a young adult handle those kinds of situations. So we are looking for students who are respectful of that discourse, of that engagement with history and the future, and want to really engage at that similar level with us here on campus.
Well, we appreciate that. And what would you say are some common mistakes you see in college applications, and what practical tips would you offer students to avoid them?
Like I said, proofread. I think that is the biggest one. And if I sound like a broken record, because you've heard it before, it is a very correct broken record. So have somebody else spell check it. Make sure you're using the right version of they, there, and there. And, but at the same time, make sure that your voice is coming through. It should still read like your personality. And then I would also say leaving out vital information in the different sections. Use the whole application to your advantage. We use the common application, and right on there are sections for additional information. There's a community disruption section as well if you need to explain how the pandemic affected your educational years as well. And so use these sections to give us extra context. Maybe you were in the hospital for a month because you broke your leg and it made your grades go downhill. We need to know that so we can take that into consideration. Do you have to ride a bus for an hour and a half to and from school? That's going to affect how many extracurricular activities you can be involved in. So things like that, very important to know. I will say, as an ask, don't add an extra essay into the additional information section. One last tip I like to give is, while we love to see students using the additional info section, try not to add extra essays or essay length information there. Put your best essay that you chose into the essay section. Really, it won't matter if you choose essay 1 or essay 2. We are still getting a look at who you are as a person, and will get the same kind of view of you as a student. So one essay is perfectly fine in the main common application.
Well, I appreciate a lot of what you said, and it really talks to being mindful of all of the different parts of the application, students, and understanding what each part is meant to portray, and Don't repeat the same information multiple times throughout. I love that you gave the example of perhaps a student that has to ride a bus or take a train to school an hour and a half each way, which was the example that you gave. And that might be the reason why he or she may not be able to participate in so many clubs after school. Well, if you don't share that information, students, in the overall application, now you're leaving it up to the admissions representatives to speculate as to why perhaps there's not more involvement in your school community. So again, it's very important to share information like that. So, Lindsey, does GW use demonstrated interest or engagement in the review process at all?
So we won't use demonstrated interest or engagement in the initial reading process. We read just the application materials that we've been talking about, but we will use it and track it to kind of inform where we travel. Did we engage with a certain amount of students in Florida versus New York, or at one school versus another within a certain city? So we know which students on the high school level need some more interaction from us, or where do we, not go very often, and we need to, make a presence known in that area as well. So it's important to always engage with the universities, even ones that don't use demonstrated interest, because they'll be able to engage with you right back and be able to communicate with you about your personal interests that they have on their campus. I will say, if we ever go to our wait list, sometimes we will use demonstrated interest or engagement. Who's come on tours? Has anybody gone to a college fair where we were, or something like that, to really see that you are actively engaged with us. But otherwise, during the initial process, it's not a part of the review.
Well, we appreciate that. You made it clear that during the initial process, it's not part of the review, but you never know if you're on the wait list, whether or not it can help you later on. So it's important to do all of the things that fall under the umbrella of demonstrating your interest, students, because first of all, and perhaps most important, is by doing so, you're going to determine whether or not whatever the college is or university is that you're researching, whether or not it is in fact the right fit for you. So visiting, if you're lucky to do that, engaging in the virtual events, meeting with a rep on campus or at a college fair, all of those things are really important, again, to help you determine fit. So as a follow-up to the many application questions that we've been talking about, Lindsey, what makes a student a good fit for GW and vice versa?
Great question, because we will read applications for a good fit for the university as a whole. So we're trying to, kind of like you said, match the student with the university. And if it's us, that's fantastic. So we're looking at students who are curious inside and outside of the classroom. They're passionate about something. Maybe it's an academic subject or an organization they lead at school. We want them to be just as involved on our campus as they were in high school. We're looking for students that are motivated and they want to go out into the world, whether that is, transitioning slightly through the Mount Vernon campus, or just head first right into the city center. So I think it's a combination of different kind of exciting adjectives, but it really can, students can really be a good fit in a lot of different ways. So if you want the experience of living in a city, but also with the escape to a residential college available just 2 miles away, if you want to do research at a higher level and already have some ideas about what you want to do, great place to do that as well. We have a med school, we have a law school, we have all of these different things that you can continue with us on campus. And so that motivation, that curiousness for the world at large is really what we're looking for in our students.
Well, that's terrific. Thank you so much, Lindsey. And I know we mentioned some of the things already, but how can students engage with GW before and even during the application process?
Yeah. Like you said, visiting the campuses, meeting with an admissions rep while they visit the high school or the college fairs, or even just dropping in to say hi at the front desk if you do visit the school. With us, our student workers and tour guides are always the ones at the front desk greeting students and kind of being the smiley first face you guys see when you come into the office. And admission officers are always available to talk with you. You can email us. You can search on our university website all of the different academic programs. Maybe start looking at our residential halls and kind of scoping out the rooms where you want to live. If you want to get more information about a specific program, you can email into our main email. And students will be able to answer you and kind of give you their perspective as well. So there's a few different ways to engage, and I always recommend checking your application portal as well. That is going to be the central hub of checklists galore, any events happening that you can register for, and most of the time, your representative is listed there, or there is even a link to the staff page so you can find your representative.
Well, that's awesome, Lindsey. This has been a great conversation. Unfortunately, it does lead us to that last question, which always is, what are the top 3 pieces of advice that you would provide students and their families getting ready for the college admissions process?
My big one, and it sounds nerdy, is make an Excel sheet to track your thoughts, because there are so many schools, there are so many names. Did you know there's a University of Miami and a Miami University of Ohio? You know, lots of very similar things. So, and in very different places as well. So make sure you know what's important to you. Track it all out in an Excel sheet. You can even use that to track your applications if you need to. Centralize it, and that'll make it a lot less stressful. Kind of what you said as well, John, visit as many campuses as you can. Even if you want to go far away for college, visit the local campuses so that you get a feel of just what a general college campus is like. If you've never heard of the school, do that one as well. You never know what you're going to find, or what unique programs and hidden gems there are out there. And then just be honest with yourself and on your application and throughout the whole process. It is a stressful process, yes, but there is a light at the end of that tunnel. And if you are honest with yourself, honest on the application, you are going to find the right college fit for you as well.
Well, those are great pieces of advice, Lindsey. Again, this has been a tremendous conversation. I am so glad that I finally got GW and you on the podcast. I cannot thank you enough.
Always happy to help. This has been a blast.
Terrific. Well, the pleasure was all ours. And to everyone out there, good luck with the college search. Take care all, and best wishes. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The CAP, the College Admissions Process Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please don't forget to tell a friend, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am your host, John Durante, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The CAP. Thank you for listening to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success.